Hi guys, welcome and thanks for joining today's webinar. You're here with Lucas. I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager here at MyPRINTCloud. We're just waiting for a few latecomers to join, and while we're waiting, I'll give you a brief history about MyPRINTCloud and our latest product offering. MyPRINTCloud started out 5 years ago as a desktop MIS platform. 2 years ago we decided to move the platform to the cloud, and just over 12 months ago we began redeveloping MyPRINTCloud to be mobile and tablet friendly, both our web stores and our MIS platform. In March of 2015, we relaunched our platform as a single offering incorporating both MIS and web to print. MyPRINTCloud is a UK-based company with offices in the UK, USA, Australia and the Middle East. We have over 200 customers in approximately 9 different countries. MyPRINTCloud is deployed instantly when you register on our website. This webinar will take about 1 hour to cover the web to print components and an additional 40 minutes to cover the MIS. But stick with us, because this should be all you need as an introduction to help you make a decision about MyPRINTCloud, and also it guides you through how to set up stores and use the MIS from the very beginning. So let's roll over to the actual platform and get started. So when you log into MyPRINTCloud, you're presented with your dashboard. On the right hand side you'll find some useful resources, and these are links to training webinars to find out more about how to configure your system, tutorials. Over in the middle of the screen we have the number of pending estimates, orders in production and completed, as well as a graph of this month's earnings. Down below we've got some management reports. We've also got your last 5 orders on your stores. And on the very left hand side we have basically the MIS. So this is where I would go into my CRM, view calendars, to-do lists, customers and suppliers. There's an e-marketing suite for sending out weekly, monthly, bi-monthly EDMs or advertising material to your customers of those stores. You can create stores and edit your stores from in the Stores tab. You've got your Estimating tab where you can create new estimates to customers for ad hoc jobs. You've got your Order Processing. This is where your orders from your estimating, once they become orders, they flow into. Also from your web to print stores, they flow into your Order Processing. So here you can take a job, put it into production, set the dispatch dates, production dates and so on. And once it's in production, you've got a nice production board where you can monitor where the jobs are up to and move them to the next location. Invoicing, shipping and purchase orders. These are the invoices that go out to customers. You can produce your shipping notes to attach to the boxes, your purchase orders with outside orders, so anything that's going out or maybe stock replenishment for the factory floor, you'll find in purchase orders. Under inventory, this is where you add your inventory items. This is your everyday stocks, maybe your inks, your consumables, and your shelf items or pick and pack items for your web store would all be stored in inventory. And under settings, this is where you would localize your system. So the first thing we're going to do is jump into stores, and we'll come back to the MIS functions later in this webinar. So when you first click on the Stores tab, you will see that there's 3 stores already in your instance. There's 2 corporate demo stores and 1 retail store. Now the retail store can be changed straight away with your own logo and your own product library, and you can use this to go live with. The 2 private stores are more for demos, so that you can show customers their own demo stores and things like that. If you want to add a new private store, just simply click on Add Store and click on the private store here. You can also create multiple retail stores. So if you click on the public store here, you'll add a new public store, and that public store will copy over the default database from this existing store, so that if you plan on just reskinning it as a different brand, the products are already in there. You can easily delete and remove the categories that are in the public store. The private store you copy over will be blank, so that you can just add your customer's logo, change the color schemes, change the theme and add their products and pricing, and you're good to go. Let's take a look at the public store to get started with. So we'll just click on preview there, and while that loads up we're going to actually open up the settings in here. So with the settings loaded up here, we can quickly go in and change some details. So you want to change this to your print company name, so just drop in your print company, and you want to upload your logo. So quickly go in and grab your logo, and you've got this store's unique access code. Now for the retail store, you can just leave it as is. Put in your phone number, any notes you wish to add. Now once you've configured your retail store, you'll want to add your domain name. So click here to add your own domain name, which will be www.yourprintcompany.com. And basically once you've added that, then you'll be able to find instructions for how to link your domain to your own domain name from our blog. So go to blog.myprintcloud.com and click on the FAQs, and this will give you information. Now because you're able to have multiple retail stores, you want to enter in your tax registration number, be it GST, VAT, tax, registration number for the brand that you're launching here. So if it's under your current brand, put in your own tax information. If you've got a sub business and you want to use that tax ID, enter your 2 tax reference numbers here, and that way you'll be able to account for that when it's passed through to the accounting app. If you add in your Facebook URL, your app ID, and your Facebook app key, what this will do is one of 2 things. Firstly, they'll be able to go through to your Facebook page by clicking on the social media icons, but they'll also be able to log into the store through the Facebook app. So that'll be the sign in with Facebook button. The same thing applies to Twitter, and you can also add your LinkedIn URL for social media on the site. Where you want the home button to return to, enter the home URL here. And that means when the customer clicks on the home button, it'll either take them back to your site or the shopping cart, whichever one you're running as a primary site. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is move on to themes and settings. So there are a bunch of themes in the system, and we're bringing more online all the time. So you'll be able to scroll through a few themes here, and you can actually select these ones that even say coming soon. Once you select a theme, you click apply selected theme, and this is going to update everything. So this is going to be the store layout, the colors, the themes, and the background images. And if we just quickly go over to our store, so this is a default theme that comes with the system. You can add your own banners, your own color schemes, and you've got a default set of products that are here as well, and we'll look at the products in a minute in the back end. You've also got these widgets. There's a number of different widgets in the system, and you can add them or delete them using the page editor. And basically what you can have is, different videos. Maybe you've got a scroll bar that scrolls through the products. You've also got what we know as secondary pages, and secondary pages are the kind of FAQs, the terms and conditions for your site, and how to order, your contact information, and all this is set from inside the back end. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly have a look at the themes in the back end. And in the back end, you've also got things like, I spoke about these widgets. So you've got featured products widgets, most popular products, special products, or products on special. And what you'd do is you'd add the selected products that you want to, say, do as a featured product. And you could go into the store layout tab over here and add the widget for featured products to the home page. So you see this featured products widget. So I'd go down to the home page here, and basically I would grab that featured products link and drop it over here, and that'll just add it to the bottom, and I'm going to move it up to where I want it. And when I hit save and close, that would then appear on the home page as a featured product widget, should I say. So that'll scroll through those products. Now I won't hit save just yet because I don't want to mess up the layout, but you can also set the Google Maps for your contact page. So up here where they click on contact us, you'll get a map and your information. And by confirming this, you can choose from 3 different options for the map. Upload your own, select from the zip code, or put the latitude and longitude in. Now the scrolling banners that you use across the site, if you want to add new ones, or maybe you want to create a series that's used for a season, then you can just upload them all here. So you grab your banners, pop them in, and then you can create a banner set. In terms of look and feel and kind of modifying the website's from the standard build and doing more advanced things with them, what you can do is all of our sites are obviously, because they're responsive, they have a CSS script, which is cascading style sheets, and it's actually quite easy to use. So if I say right click inside Chrome or Firefox, I can go inspect element, right? And by using so this selection tool just on the left, and it's in the same spot in Firefox, I can put my cursor over any item, and what it's going to do is it's going to tell me the CSS code. So basically here we can see that this is the pink theme company top logo, right? And it's going to give me a height and maximum width of this logo. Now say I wanted to increase the size of that logo to say 90 pixels, I could just simply grab this piece of code, which is just the reference to it, grab that piece of code. I could come down here and say Control Find or Control F, type that in, and I can change the actual size of it to say 90 pixels. Now when I click Save, that'll update that logo to be 90 pixels high and by whatever width that it fits within. So you can very easily modify the store by using this tool within Chrome without having any knowledge of CSS. This is very basic stuff for a designer. Even a graphic designer could do this and pick this up quickly. There's also, like I mentioned earlier, inside our useful resources, they can find help files on how to do this quickly. So each site is independently skinned and controlled. So when you deploy two different retail stores, you have two different CSS controls. Some customers choose to outsource this work to a contractor if they really want to change the skins themselves. Our team can also do it for a small fee, where you just send us in the Photoshop files and we'll create the store and reskin the store for you. Now, used within each of the sites is also the sprite. So these are all the buttons and icons that are used within the site. You can download this list, you can make changes to it and re-upload it in the system. And then the secondary pages that we spoke about, you can simply open up these secondary pages and you can edit the titles of these secondary pages. You can add keywords for these secondary pages, and you can also edit them online. So this is a HTML editor where you can just edit the content online by typing and formatting here, but you can also access the source code. So if you want to use, say, a HTML editor or something offline, you can just copy and paste it in here. Once you've made those changes, you can just click Save, and you'll see that you've got all the secondary pages here, as well as all the system pages. So these are like the forgot password pages, the sign up pages, contact us pages. Okay, so lots of flexibility to control the look and feel of the sites, to quickly edit them. I believe that most systems try to lock this stuff down. We like to give you access to it. It does mean you can make more mistakes, but you can easily restore here or update the theme again. So over and on to SEO and rave reviews. Here you've got things like maybe you want to put in Google Analytics or Webmaster Scripts. You can add these here. And if you've got customer reviews, you can click on, this is a review from John. So this is John's review, and you can add this in. The customer said, yay, my product arrived quite quickly, and so on. And I can put this as the rave review number 1, and yes, I do want to display it. And what this will do is it'll just display it as customers click through the web stores. Now, jumping over to products and categories, so this is where I'm going to update my products and categories. And before I jump in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the store, and we're going to go through this and have a look at the actual products itself. So basically you'll find that these products are mimicked in the back end. So these are the same products here, and this is our categories, right? And within our categories we have in this site subcategories, and within each of these subcategories we've then got the products. So let's look at that on the store. So business stationery, and then in say business station we have the subcategory, which is business cards, and then in that business cards product category we have the business cards product. Okay, so the same thing applies here. Business stationery, business cards, and then business cards of product. And on the store again, now the customer is presented with some options: upload your design, more info, and design now. And basically if I click more info, what this does is this gives me a nice description screen, which is very SEO friendly, so Google friendly, And what you can do is you can add images of the product. The customer can see the full pricing library or the full pricing matrix. You have specification pages, product description pages, and additional information pages. You've also got these options to add products that the customer might also like. This is all configured from the back end. Okay, so going back one step, when we click on Design Now, this is going to open up the editor. Alright, so let's have a quick look at the editor from a retail point of view. The editor runs in many different modes. It's very different when it's running as for a corporate store, and it also runs in an unlocked format for a retail client. Now, when we look at the editor, we can load up a template here, and the customer has a load of templates for each product that are predefined. And basically, when they load this up, they'll get a smart form. And the smart form, all it does is it saves the information against their profile, so that when they update it or click on a different template, their information is already stored, right? And it will automatically load. So let's quickly change templates. And again, when they now reload this, their information will be in there. And when they click apply, it'll update the card. Okay, so scrolling through the templates, as I scroll, they'll just keep loading. And I think across the site, there's about 6,000 plus templates across about 50-60 different products. So we have our smart form and our templates. They can also easily add text boxes, they can add images, add shapes. So let's have a quick look at about how the editor works. So customers can scroll and resize quite easily. They can type on screen as well. So maybe they don't want this information and they want to type over it. So they can just select the text and type in their information. They can also do things like maybe I want to change the colors, so they can select from a color within the color palette, or they can add their own CMYK colors. So we've got our sliders here, and they can select a different color. They might want to change the font, so they can select a different font here, and maybe they want to change the point size, the character spacing, and the line height. So with images as well, you can also, let's just remove that for the moment. With images as well, you can also resize these images so customers can just scale. They can also crop and pan, so maybe we want to use a crop tool. And with the cropping, they can do a couple of things here. They can zoom in and out, and then they can move the object around. This stops the user changing it from not moving it proportionally. So they can easily crop that like so. And they can also set opacity. Alright, and they've got some aligned to canvas tools as well. And we select multiple objects, we can align those objects as well. So this is quite a flexible editor. They've got controls to have predefined layouts, so maybe we want to select some different layout options. You can create these layouts from the back end. You've also got layers, so we support layers here. So maybe I want to move this object through to the top layer, and we can do that, move it forward, and you'll see the transparency there kicking in. I can also upload a background, so maybe I have my own backgrounds I want to upload, but you can select from backgrounds within the system. So, let's choose this one and actually apply that. African Safari. Okay, so once my background is applied, let's remove this image so that we can make it just a bit easier to see. So there we have a pretty simple demonstration of creating a business card from a template. But inside here they can add their own new text boxes. So this might be a new text box, and I'm going to add that as just a body template, and that'll come in here, and they can then change the formatting, the font, and so on. The same thing applies if they want to add an image. So there are some images, quite an extensive image library to select from, but they can also use those images or upload their own. And we support multiple image options, so everything from JPEGs and PNG files to TIFFs and vector art, SVG files. So they can use both vector art and rasterized art to upload their own images. So when I click next, it's going to generate me a proof. So here we have our low resolution proof, and using the backend we can allow customers to download this proof, email this proof, or download it as an image. And let's click on confirm details and progress to the job options. So from the pricing page, you can have, this is a dynamic pricing page, so you can have up to 12 stock options. You can choose to include cost centers into the pricing rate cards like lamination or round cornering, or you can have them as additional options, and these additional options can either calculate on a sheet rate, a price per unit, a price per hour, or a fixed rate. So you can use these cost centers that are usually used within the MIS system inside the actual web stores. So this leaves you pretty much with an unlimited way to generate a cost for an item depending on what the user selects. So if I was to take this 450 gram board, I could select the quantity, and I can have a fixed quantity like so, or I can have a range quantity where the customer can enter the actual physical amount they want. So great for posters and things like this, where this is more suited to business cards, letterheads, brochures, that type of thing. So select a product, add to cart. When I add to cart, I'm given basically a shopping cart. So if I have multiple items on here, I'll see them here. I can copy this product within the cart, or I can remove it from the cart. I can also go back to the editor and modify the artwork. I've got a dispatch date. This is based on what options I select in the previous window, where if I add cellar glazing or round cornering, it'll extend this date. It'll also give me a date based on the longest item in production on the list. So it's going to ask me to sign up here. So if I'm an existing user, I can put in my email or password, or if you've linked this to Facebook or Twitter in the back end, they can sign in with Facebook or Twitter. For this one, I'm just going to go sign up myself, and we'll create a user here. Put in my phone number. Oops. Just put in an email address. And create my account. Now if I use a real email address, that's going to fire off a thank you for registering email to my email account. Let's go through the checkout here. Now I'm going to be presented with delivery information, and you can force these items on. So if you want to have the user enter, maybe some additional information, you can have them do that. If you want a purchase order, you can have them do that. We select our delivery options, and we're going to create a new address name. So this is this could be my house, or the office, or the building it's going to, and 10 Smith Street. And let's put Sydney 2000, and country Australia, and New South Wales. If any of you can't tell, I am Australian. Put my contact number in. And basically, from there, I'm going to go through to continue. And right, it's going to give me an order confirmation screen, confirm your order, your billing, your shipping, your item, and I can place the order. You'll notice the delivery charge is there now. Now, if this is connected to PayPal or a payment gateway, it's going to pass me through to that payment gateway for payment. If not, like this, it's going to give me an order receipt, right? And the user can either print this receipt, or they can it'll also get it emailed as a copy to them. So now that I have a profile, I will always have this information. I can go back and I can place a reorder for this product. So I can view my order and reorder it. I can update my details for what auto populates on the artwork. I can add a new address, change my password. I can save orders for later. And I've still got things like request a quote. I can go back and order more products. So this concludes the demo of the retail store. So let's jump over to the back end and go through the corporate store. We'll try to get through this as quickly as possible, but let's have a good look at the corporate store, and then we'll move on to MIS. What I'm going to do as part of our corporate demo is create a store from scratch. Create some categories for the customer to actually work through, and create a business card template. So hopefully from that we can at least cover a lot of the different options you have within a corporate store. So the first thing we're going to do is add the corporate store here. So we're going to come over here and create a new private store. Once our store's been created successfully, we can click on the store. So this is our blank private store. And we're going to come in and give the store a name, and in this store we're going to call it, what are we going to call it here? The business card journal. Okay, which is where I've got the business card from. So first things first, business card journal. I'm going to upload their logo. So we'll go to my desktop here, demo site, and grab the logo I created for them. And I'm going to give the store a unique code, and this is going to be BC Journal. I put my phone number in, which of course for this demo is just a fake phone number. Now I'm not going to adjust any more settings down here, but I'm going to go on to my themes and settings tab. It's a private store here. I don't have a background to upload yet, but if I did, I could just add a background. And I'm not going to worry about any page banners, and we'll go through some CSS changes as we go along on the store. And I'm not going to display any secondary pages. And the first thing I'm going to go across and do is I'm going to add a new user. So let's add a contact. This is going to be John Doe. And we're going to call him john@test.com is his email address. So John Doe. We're going to need his phone number. And we'll give him a direct number as well. And he's going to be a graphic artist. And we'll give him a password of just password. And now what you'll see here is these are some additional info tags. Now these are what we use to auto-populate business cards and things, because you do have these variable data controls within the editor. So you've got additional information here. You've also got workflow settings, right? So this is everything about the customer. So I can say this user has a $1,000 credit limit. Are they a newsletter subscriber? Are they subscribed to emails? These are system emails, by the way. So the emails that go to and from the system, the user can unsubscribe from them. Can the user have access to the web store? I'll go into more detail about why this is even here. Can the user place an order on the web store? So can they actually push the order through? Are they the default contact of the store? Can they pay by credit card? Now, if this user has to pay by credit card, we can also give them an option to pay by EFT or direct deposit. Right? If not, it'll come through as invoice, right? As invoice into the MIS. Can this user place an order without their manager's approval? Yes or no? And can the user edit their profile? Now, if I'm a office manager and I'm set as a manager, I've got the ability to edit my profile, I can create artwork on behalf of other users. So it'll give me a drop down. I can select another user. I can hit apply, and that'll populate the card with that other user's profile. So in this instance, we're going to say no. And the pricing on the web store displayed to the customer, I'm going to say yes in this instance. I'm going to come back and I'm going to change this guy to a user. Okay, so John Doe is a user. If he was a manager, he would receive other users' pending approval. So it'd come to the manager for approval. I'd say, yeah, it's approved, and then it'll go through to pre-production. Okay. As an administrator, I can add users to the site. I can add delivery addresses and addresses to the site, and I can now see all the orders within the system. So once I've kind of set up my hierarchy of approvers, my user settings, I want to link that to an address. So we have both territories and addresses, which I'll go through in a minute. And we've also got this option for custom CRM fields. So if you need more CRM fields, or you need maybe fields that are watermarked, or forces the user to type in a particular format, you can actually create custom fields. We'll go through that in a minute as well. So I'm just going to save John Test there. Let's have a look at store addresses and territories. So territories are different locations, so maybe different states or different departments, and they might have different templates for those areas. So I can add a territory. So let's call this territory. This might be head office, right? And head office might have more templates than what a store does. So let's create head office, and in head office, let's give head office an address. So this is the address name. So this could be head office Chicago, right? And this is 112 Smith Street. We're going to go United States and Illinois. Okay, and then we can select the city. So maybe this is Lake Michigan. And I don't know the postcode, so we'll just give it one. And if you've got an email for head office, you can add the email. You can select your default territory, so we're just going to go head office here. You can give this address its own phone number, so the phone numbers and fax information and so on can be either at the address level or at the user level. And you can also have a custom fields for this address as well. So let's just go, and what we'll do is we're going to say that this is a company default address and it's a company default shipping address, and it also can be the default for this territory, okay, which is the head office territory. So let's add that in, and now let's go up here and click on John, and under John we're going to change him to be a head office user. So because there's only one address in head office, it'll automatically change to Chicago and Chicago, and we'll click save. Okay, so now that we've saved that, we're going to go into products and categories, and we're going to just change the sample category at first. So we can add a new category, but we're going to call this one business cards. If you need to delete a category, you can just click the archive button here, but we're going to call this business cards. And now there's some options around the business cards. So I've created a thumbnail for this business card, so I don't want the actual business card name to display under the image, so I'm going to say hide. Inside all these category display things, you'll find that there's a tooltip that tells you about what this function does, so make sure you look at those. I want this to appear in position 1, so it's going to be the first item, and jump along to category descriptions, right? And basically here you've got some options. So you can show your sell pricing, for instance. You can make it a featured product. You can show the short description under the actual products in this category. I'm going to choose to leave them all off, and I'm going to add my thumbnail. So under my category images, I'm going to come in here, and I created one earlier, so I'm just going to add that in. This is my thumbnail, and I'm going to assign this guy to the default territory. I need to save my store in order to add this to the head office, so just give me one sec. So I'm going to just now assign this to the territory, so we're going to put it on the head office territory, and I'm going to click save. And now we're going to add a product from scratch. So that's the site set up, and that's the product set up. And now we're going to, sorry, that's a category set up, and now we're going to add the product. So this is going to be my business card, and I'm going to give it a unique product code called business card 001, sort order 1. I'm going to tell it which categories I want it to display in, and that's business card. So you can think now about all the different options that you could structure these sites with, different territories, different user permissions, and then different products across different categories, right? There's also different types of products, right? So there's a print product, which is a web to print product. It's, you know, something where the editor is displayed and a customer can edit and order online. There's non-print products, which is what we use for inventory and pick and pack stock. And then there's marketing brief, where we need the customer to basically respond to a survey and submit that either with a file uploaded or not. And then that'll come through to ourselves or the marketing department at the head office, and then we can actually design that template or add to that template. So once I've given it that information, I'm going to come on down here, and again there's loads of different options for products, but I'm going to enable this as a product, and I'm going to publish it on the web store. There's other options here, like can the user download or purchase a high-res artwork?
If it's a real estate product, I can turn this feature on and get additional variable data tags within the editor. Again, I can give you more information about that after the webinar. Does the end user need to upload some files? So maybe this is a direct mail piece and I need a CSV file or something from them. So I can click yes and I'll have to upload something. Is this a variable data product? If it is, I'll get a new costing table down the bottom here where I can specify, the range of clicks, so how many items are in the CSV file they upload, and I can say the price per click is, say, 50 cents and the setup charge is $100, and then I can add, more to this pricing range of pricing, and it'll calculate the price depending on the number of records. So if I come back here and I'll just turn that off, I can also show available stock levels. So again, with inventory, I can show them how many are in stock and if it's available. Add crop marks in the editor, so I'm going to say yes. Display watermarks on proofs. I can display yes. I can say yes. Display bleed area on the proof. Okay, again, personal choices. Yes, I can, or no. Do I want to output the final artwork as a multi-page PDF or single pages? So you've got a choice there, depending on your imposition software. Do I want to allow users to download a PDF proof or allow users to download a PNG file? Now, just for this demo, I'm going to say they can download an image. So we're going to click on yes there. And what we're going to go along and set up now is my pages and details. So if I'm configuring this as an MIS product or something I'm going to produce in-house and I want the work ticket done, I can actually come in here and select the stock, select my press, select my sheet and item size, right? I'm going to ignore that for the moment and just part of the demo go no print. And then I'm going to select my stock. So we're doing a business card, so let's add a maybe a 350 gram. So we'll just search here for 350 grams. So we've got a 350 gram mat board. Now, if I don't want to display 350 gram mat board, I can just say, it's 350 gram mat, and the customer would only see that. So for this instance, we'll leave on board, and let's add a refining option. So let's just say on this one, we're going to go for round corners. Okay, and we're going to save that. Now we're going to add another stock, and we're going to call this 400 gram. And we're going to grab that, and on this one we're going to add something like laminating. Okay, now there's loads of different ways you can set up these refining options, but basically what I've just done here is this. I'm going to change the label here to 400 gram white board, right, so the customer understands what it is. But basically what happens is the customer clicks on the 350 gram in the store, they're going to get the option for round corners. If they click on the 400 gram, they're going to get the option for laminating, right? So you can have different cost centers and different refining options for different stocks. You can also add an image for each item.
So over on the price tables here, this is where we'll select the actual prices that the customer can see. We can choose from a range price list where we can say, 1 to 250 is a unit price of $12 per unit. Or we can go with the fixed quantity rate, which is what we're going to do here. So we're going to say 100 units. Let's just put in a price of $60 and $75 for the 400 gram board. And we'll do the same for 250. We'll say this is 70 and 85 and 500. We'll say this is 99 and 109 and 1000. We'll say this is 129 and 139. And so on. So you can put in quite an extensive range of prices there. It goes up to, I think, 20 different price ranges. Then you can go over to the Supplier Price tab, and you can choose to either run this job internally, and you can put in your estimated production days without any cost centers. So this might be 2 days without any cost centers. Or if you're outsourcing the job, you can select, yes, I want to outsource the job. You can select your suppliers from within the system. If you want to add new suppliers, you go into your CRM and add the suppliers. And once you've selected your suppliers, you can say, right, do I want to create this as an unposted purchase order for supplier 1? That means that it'll create it into a draft format. If I say no, that means it's going to package it up, ready to go out to a supplier, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if quantity is greater than 500, I'm going to send it to supplier 2. My turnaround time for supplier 1 is 3 days, and my turnaround time for supplier 2 is 5 days. Now you can use this activity as an internal activity. You can set yourself as a default supplier and your offset supplier as the outsourced one, so that you'll get the order internally or send it out if it's above that amount. Now when you click over here and you get your supplier price tables, you can put in that same amount here against each of the quantities there. Over and onto internal descriptions, this is basically where you build the product description page. So in the retail store you saw a more info tab. If they click on more info and you fill out this information, it'll be displayed on the page. So you can add videos as well. You can add metadata for the actual product description page, and this is just additional SEO stuff. If you want to enter in some work order information, you can add it here. So say this job's got a special die, so you can say die cutting, always use die 102. And this information will come through on the work order with every product. In addition to that, you can add upsell products. So as we go to checkout, we can add additional products. Right, so maybe we want to add a pull-up banner. Sorry, I added it twice. Maybe we want to add a pull-up banner, and we can add up to 4 or 5 items for this product. So these are displayed on the store while the customer's ordering. Once we've done that, we come over to template properties. Now, I can create my template in 3 different ways. The main two for a corporate store is I can create from a blank, and if I'm creating from a blank canvas, I want to come over to these template pages and put in, add the number of pages that I want inside the editor and give them a name. So if this was a booklet, I'd say this is front cover, inside front cover, and so on. But this is a business card, so we're going to say this is front and this is back. And to get the sizes in there, I'd enter my sizes inclusive of bleed. Alright, so this is 60 by 100 mil, which is a 50 by 90 card. The other option is to say to create a template by uploading an existing PDF. Now I can do that by clicking on here, and it's going to ask me, do I want to keep the existing template object? So I'm going to say yes, because we're going to flick that back on in a minute. But I can select the PDF, and depending on the size of the pages within the PDF, it'll create that shell in the editor. Now, zoom factor and scale factor, this is for large format. The editor will auto zoom to a preferred size depending on the artwork, but it'll also allow you to override that. And you can also set a scale factor. So with large format, if we're doing a 2 by 3 meter banner, we can produce that at maybe 10% to 25% of the size of the that's actually required to be output, and we can put that in here. And what that'll do is, although it'll output the banner at 25%, it'll show the user that they're working 2 by 3 meter sizes, so that the user experience, it doesn't say the wrong sizes on the canvas. Now, when we come down to end user mode, you can launch the editor in 4 different modes and test this out, because as a user, if I log in as myself and I go into order a card and it's on unrestricted mode, I'll see all the tools in the editor. Now, that doesn't override the fact that things are locked down, or fonts are locked, or formatting's locked, or the location of an object's locked, but it does show them all the available tools. If you don't want to show all the available tools and you want to run it in restricted mode, you can select this second option, and what that'll do is it'll only show the smart form or any tools that are turned on for the customer. The 2 bottom modes are basically for when you're using variable data. So you can show the smart form, which is where the customer enters the information. Once they hit apply, that then just shows a proof, right? It doesn't show them the actual editor. The fourth option is we use variable data to populate the entire template, and we just show them a proof screen. Down the bottom here, this is where we're going to enable what output we want the file to come out as. So do we want to support spot colors, or do we want to convert all colors to CMYK? And finally, under image management, we're going to add the thumbnail. So I've just previously uploaded this, but in here we just go in and we grab the thumbnail, and this will give the product an actual thumbnail. And we click save, and when we click save, it's going to say, do we want to open the editor? And we're going to say yes. And the design is going to open in admin mode. So now's a good opportunity for us to have a look at all the different features. So the first thing I'm going to do is upload something on the canvas for us to work with. So I'm going to upload a background, and here I'm just going to grab the template, and I'm going to open that. So my template's now in here, and this is where we're going to copy from. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this in two stages. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add our fonts to the system, right? So embedded in this file is two font files, and we're going to upload those now. So under the font file, I'm going to take my Exo Bold is the first font I'm going to upload. And when you're uploading fonts, you need to upload all three font files. So this is the print font file, the TrueType font. It's the web-based font file, which is the WOFF, and the screen-based font file, which is the EOT file. And you find some information about uploading fonts over here. So let's upload those fonts first. And I want to enter this name exactly the same as it was written in the file name. So this is Exo Bold. And let's go ahead and upload the Elato Regular. So we're going to do that as well. So now I've uploaded this customer's particular fonts. We're just going to add a text box. Right, and the first thing we're going to do is drop that text box where we want the information, and we're going to just make this inside, I suppose, the trim area, but not too tight to the edges. And we're going to double click on this box, and we're going to see all our variable data tags that can come up from the CRM. And we're going to do this in two stages. So we're going to put in the variable data tags, but we're also going to go back and create a smart form so you can see how that can work as well. So the first point here is we're going to get the contact's first name and last name. So contact person, first name, first name and last name. Right, so we'll just change the font coloring there. So let's change this to white. So we're going to add just a white color. And as you can see, it's asking me to call the spot color, and the reason for this is I don't want to be creating the CMYK font colors every time. I want to create just the spot colors for this customer, or colors that we use within the artwork. So this is going to be called white, and we're going to center this text box, and we're going to force it to uppercase as well. Now you can open your file up in Illustrator and actually have a look at what is the font size and what is the character spacing and line height. So I'm going to make the line height on this close to the top of the box, so 0.28, and I'm going to up the font size green. I force the case to uppercase, and I'm going to say auto shrink if it runs over for the customer. I'm also going to create a line break here. And in the line break, I'm going to put the title, so the customer's job title. Right, and we're just going to expand this out for a minute. And we'll Control A, change the color to white. Alright, and I'm just going to up the point size. Now the two things we're going to do here is we're just going to select this top box again, and we're going to change the font now to the font we uploaded, which was Exo Bold, and we're going to put this font in, which is, and if everything uploaded right, so we're going to center these two items now, so this one as well, center that. Okay, so what we're going to do after this point now is we're going to lock this box. So we're going to move this back up, and we're going to lock the formatting so the customer can't change the font, and we're going to lock its location so the customer can't move it around either. So let's lock that and lock that. And what this means, let's also lock the text. So what this means is the customer won't be able to edit this box at all. Okay, now down the bottom here, let's zoom in and take a look. And what we've got is we've got a phone number that's formatted with, what is this, 3 zeros, then 4 digits and 4 digits, and the same with the fax number. We've also got an email address, and we've also got a web address, and we've got a actual head office address, right? So before I go and replace all this, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back. So we're just going to save this. So let's proof this. Okay, and we're going to go back here and we're going to create a smart form. And what we're going to do is, this is going to force the user to enter in those phone numbers the way we want them, if we're not using the CRM. So just say we've got to have the customer enter some information and we want to force the way that they're entering that information. So we're going to go into custom CRM field and we're going to add a custom CRM. And this is going to be, we'll call this phone number. And we're going to give it a title of phone number. And the watermark value is going to be like this. What did we say? 4 digits and 4 digits. You don't have to give it a watermark. What the watermark is, when the user clicks on it, it's going to show this as how they should enter it. Although we're going to force this customer to enter it this way. And we're going to call this a custom tag of phone number. And close those brackets. And it's going to be a contact, because it's down to the contact level. If it's down to the address level, the territory, or the store level, I can select where it is. You can add drop downs to the editor so the user can select from, but this is going to be an input field. And we're not going to have a default value. Instead, we're going to have, we're going to force a watermark. So by me putting 9s in here, it's going to say that it's got to be a numeral and it's got to be in this format. You'll see here when you click on the input mask, A is for alpha characters, 9 is for numeric, star represents that it can either be alphanumeric. And here's some examples of it being used. So phone plus extension, phone, dates, tax IDs, product IDs, etc. So now that we've done that, we're going to save that. So what we're going to do now is go in and do the same for the fax number. So we're going to go add another tag and we'll call this a fax number. And we'll copy that and paste it in. And the watermark value, we can do the same if we like. And we're going to create the variable tag. So this is going to be a fax number. And again, it's going to be the contact. It's going to be an input. And it's going to be 1 digit. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to save that one. Now that's 2 custom CRM fields that we've created there. So why don't we go back to now the user and let's see those custom fields. So let's go back to our friend here, John, and we're going to go into the custom CRM fields and we're going to have this now new field to put his phone number in. And what this means is it will still pre-populate inside the editor. So this is going to pre-populate and it's going to mean that he can actually change this. So 659, but it's still going to force some content in there. So you could leave it blank and he has to enter it, or you can save it as the phone number and his fax number, but allow him to edit it as well. So giving you lots of options inside the editor. So let's go back and continue creating our template. So let's go products and categories, and this was our template. And let's go edit template. So for this example, I'm just going to create 3 text boxes. I think it'll just be cleaner that way. So firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop in the change the font here and drop in the variables for this box, which is going to be the contact phone numbers, so phone number and fax number, and we're just going to take that space out there and put a line return in, and we'll take out that space there. And what we're going to do is now just select that box, copy that box, and paste that box twice. So we'll just move that one down there. We'll line these all up in a second, just so we know what we're working in. And we'll start with the phone number. So this is going to be the email address. Okay, again, just take that space out. These spaces are for when you're doing dropping multiple variables in. Okay, journal. I'm just going to type this one out, just because I don't need that. And we'll just open it up so I can format the text. And we'll just type this one in. And just change the font. Okay, I need to just open this box up. It's a little tricky when you're working with the inline styling. You don't have to work within it. You can just select the whole box and make the change to it, which it'll give you a warning about. So I typed that out twice because I couldn't see it, so just to get rid of that one. And we'll reset this, so it'll be just the whole box will be 6 point there. Sorry, just give me 1 sec while we clean this up. Okay, and we're just going to move that down. Okay, so again, we're just going to reduce the line height. And in this box, we're now going to just put the address. So this is address line 1. So we're going to come down to contact address. There's 3 different addresses. You can do the shipping, billing, and contact address. So, and this is going to be city, and according to this business card, it's city and then postcode. So we'll just drop that in, take out any unwanted spaces, and just grab these 3 boxes, and we're going to left align them so they're all neat. And according to our business card, we're just going to line up the box here. Again, we're going to put the right line height in. Same with there and there, so 1.34. And just move this down. Now, you can get more accurate by using the X and Y positions and the width and height. I'm just obviously doing this rough, so I'll just make sure that's aligned again. Beautiful. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to lock the position of these, and this one, and this one, and while we're there, we may as well lock it so the user can't edit it either. We'll auto shrink that one if it flows over. We'll lock the formatting, and we'll do the same for this one, and we'll do the same for this one. Okay, so we're just going to proof that now. So once we have our proof, we can check to make sure it's right by downloading the high resolution version, and that will allow the graphic designer to quickly go in and actually see the template they've created, make sure everything's right. So I can see an error here that I've created myself here, where I haven't put a line break in between the phone number and the fax number. So let's just go back and correct that. So we're just going to turn off lock formatting. And now that we have our proof, we can download that high resolution PDF again and just check our work. Okay, so that's all corrected now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to close out of that now by closing down the editor. And let's go and take a look at the actual store as a customer. So we'll close that down and we'll come into our general info tab. And we're going to open this up now in our other browser, being Firefox. So let's log on as John. So john@test.com, password. And once we log in, you'll see that this is a category we created. And here's some information about John's profile. And again, this can be turned off and on in the back end. Here's the site that we're logged in as. There's a privacy policy and terms and conditions, again, can be edited from the back end. And things like this title bar, they can be turned on and off in the back end, as well as the footer. And you can make the size of these icons smaller or larger, and the fonts by utilizing the CSS that's available to you in the back end. You can also choose if this information is displayed or not. And basically, let's click on this, and this will open up the designer. And what we're going to find is this is a business card we created with the information auto-populating. And we've got the default value for phone number and fax number. Now, if I click inside this box, I'll be able to enter the phone number now the same way that we watermarked it in the back end, or input masked it, should I say. So, because we applied that input mask, I won't be able to type a new character. I'll only be able to type numbers. And we can click apply. And that's going to update the card. And you'll notice this editor is now running in restricted mode, so everything's locked down. They can still zoom in and out. And let's generate the high-res artwork. So we get our proof. And this is a proof with a watermark on it. Now you can use an image as well. I prefer an image, say your logo or the store logo at say 5% transparency, so that you can see straight through it. You can control this information, or you can turn it off completely. Now, because I left the switch on to download the image, the user can actually download the artwork and preview that on screen. They can also then email it to themselves and so on. So progress to options. And here we'll have the two stocks that we created earlier, with the cost center round corners for the 350 gram and laminate for the 400 gram. Now, you can define as many as you like. Let's select the 400 gram and we'll select the 500 quantity. And we'll select add to cart. And we get the same card as we get in the retail store, but we go through the checkout. Noticing that, my delivery address is auto-populated because we actually know what it is. Let's select standard delivery, and let's just put in LE test. And what we're going to do is scroll down, and we're going to click continue. And we'll get the confirmation for order. Now, this is where this screen depends on how you set up the user workflow. If I'm a user and I can approve, this will submit the order. If I require approval, this will be submit for approval. If I pay by credit card online, it will say proceed to payment, sorry. And if I have the option for direct deposit, it will say, give me a choice. Do I want to have direct deposit or pay by credit card? So submit for approval. This is going to fire off an email to the approver saying there's a pending order for approval, and it's going to give the user a confirmation receipt. So once as a user we received our order confirmation, I then can go into my profile, right, and we can see some things. So under my orders, the user will be able to see the production status. Is it pending for order approval, they'll be able to reorder. They can view their saved design, so this is when they're halfway through a design. They can update their contact details, and they can update their profile details, change their password, and view any items in the cart. Now, if I'm a manager, I can see all my users' orders, and if I'm an administrator, I can see all territory orders, right? So there's different levels determine what I can see on this page. Now, if I sign out here, so quickly what I'm going to do is just open up a couple of corporate store examples for existing customers. So we're going to open up this one, and we're going to open up this one. So this is a live customer currently running on our previous platform. But just to give you an idea, you'll see how they utilize the store background. And when we log in, they've configured it with 4 categories, nicely aligned, changed the product size, right? And this is their local marketing catalog for the company, so they can see all the information on the site. This is their marketing brief where the user can submit new requests for artwork. The print library, which is what we've gone through today, creating an item from a template. And the image library where the stores can actually download images for use in store. So let's log into another store. So this is again about 100 franchise group. Now this store manages collateral as well as inventory, so web to print and inventory. And you'll see how they've laid it out here. If I select generic collateral, this is where I will see actual physical items. So this is, the complete pack, and I can order via quantity, and this will draw down off inventory within the system. So just a couple of different examples of how customers have laid out the system. There's also another one. So if we look at this one, which is included as your demo store within your current platform, you'll see how using a nice big background and making this box transparent. So you see on this store that because this customer has 2 different brands, Goldwell and KMS California, they've separated them by 2 top-level categories, and then you select on the categories and you get your subcategories, which is all their promotions, and then you click within a category and you can get more subcategories. So this is an event promotion, and then what we'll do is we'll end up with our actual templates and a demo template I created earlier. So you can see how, spending a little bit of time on your thumbnails, on the background and on the store layout can make it look very nice to the customer. So this concludes our demo of the corporate stores. And one thing I want you to take away from this demo of the corporate stores is that the strategy is put nice looking corporate stores in front of your customers before you go in and pitch to them. Right, before you suggest online ordering, put a store up for them, skin it nicely, create a couple of categories, add some templates, and go in and show them how it can help them. Right, by doing that, you're likely to up the success rate of actually getting these stores out there. The whole MyPRINTCloud strategy is to take your business online, to deploy multiple retail stores for those one-off customers, and then the corporate stores, and expand that network. If we look at these other stores, the printer behind this customer, right, started off with 3 stores. They now print for 88 stores. Okay, so it's important to note that you can expand it by taking it to head office, capture the client, and the client will stick around. Right, it doesn't become a conversation about price. All right, we're going to take a break for 5 minutes. Thank you for sticking around to this point. When we come back, we're going to go through briefly the MIS. We're going to look at creating an estimate, order processing, production boards, invoicing, shipping, purchase orders, cost centers, inventory, and configuring the system. Now we'll try to get through that as quick as possible, but stay on the webinar. At the very end, for those that stuck around, I'm going to offer a discount on getting started with MyPRINTCloud. So start your trial, get in there, and if you like it, send me an email. It's Lucas, Lucas at myprintcloud.com, and there'll be a special offer at the end of the webinar. Alrighty, so welcome back. Thanks for the 5-minute break. I hope you got opportunity to get a cup of tea or coffee while you're there. What we're going to do now is dive straight into the back end. We're going to have a look at the MIS system. The way I like to configure MIS is how we're going to run through it today. So with MIS, we always start with the settings and work backwards to the estimate. So let's log in here and have a look at the settings. So the first thing you'll see in settings is we have all our company settings here. We have presses and plotters. So this is where I'm going to configure my offset machines, my digital machines, my wide format machines, and there's a couple of things. Those machines work on sheet sizes and as well as finish sizes, and we have our presses, plotters, and guillotines, right? So these are the feed limitations, these are the weights they'll do, these are their grips and lays, and then we have our calculation methods, how they're actually going to calculate the cost and what our sell rate's going to be for each machine. In addition to that, we've then got cost centers, and cost centers are either pre-press cost centers or they're post-press cost centers. So that might be things like artwork and so on, as well as folding, laminating, guillotining, round cornering and so on. We've also got our report, so we want to customize the headers of our estimate, our order, our purchase order, our invoice, and our starting numbers. These are obviously the invoice start numbers, the inventory start numbers, and so on. And we've got our phrase library, right? So this is a terminology that we're going to use on our estimates. There's some other controls in here, like the SMTP settings. This is for the email engine. We've got our sales pipeline. There's some CRM integration coming soon. And there's also over here on the left is import and export data, which is coming soon, and archive and unarchived products coming soon. So just quickly to go through, let's look at the My Organization. Okay, so the first thing you do is pop in your company details. You can upload a company logo as well. That logo is going to appear up in the top left here. Same with regional settings. Go in and change it to your currency, change it to inches or metric, and change it to your location and time zone settings. Inside the language editor, this is where you could basically edit any of the buttons that appear within the web stores. So say there's, I'm not sure if you recall, but there was a submit for approval button on the web store. If we wanted to find that button and change it to something else, we can just see it here. So here's the submit for approval. Maybe we could change that to submit to manager, right? And this will update it on the web store. We won't change that right now, but you can find all the different terminology used inside the web stores in this language editor. In addition, you can set your default markups. These are the markups that you can apply against quotes and estimates. Also set your default markup. Skipping over to presses, plotters, and guillotines, let's have a quick look in here. And let's pick a Konica C8000. So this is where I configure my presses. So, feed restrictions, maximum, minimum sheet sizes, maximum weight the machine will take, which grip orientation it takes, my gutters, head, and grip depth. I can set up some setup and running charges, and any spoilage rates I want to add to the machine. The same goes with the offset presses, just more options for those. And you'll see on each of the presses there's a calculation method. So if we go in and have a look at the calculation method, there's a range of calculation methods that you can use. You can use a flat click charge rate for your digital or you can use click charge zones. So if I click charge zones, this is going to calculate, you can enter the different zones, your cost price per whatever sheet, per 10 sheets, per sheet, per 100 sheets, and your sell price that you intend for that machine before markup. You can also choose to accumulate those click charge ranges, or you can round up the number of clicks. You've also got things like per hour charge, speed to weight ratios for offset, guillotine click charges, meter per hour for large format, and so on. So you can add your own lookups here as well. So once you configured your presses, the next thing to do is come in and configure your cost centers. Now in MyPRINTCloud we have 4 different cost centers. We have a fixed cost center, we have a per hour cost center, a quantity based cost center, and a formula based cost centers. Now using these 4 different types of cost center, there is no price that you can calculate. So when I come into quantity and I look at quantity, this is going to be a minimum charge, a setup charge, a price per unit, and I can change this to a variable where we're calculating, based on the number of finished units, the number of sides printed, the number of hours on the press, all these type of things. So you should be able to calculate most quantity-based items by using one of these lookups. If you look at the formula-based, this is where things get a little more complex. So under a formula-based cost center, this is where we can use questions, matrix, and variables. So if you drop this down, you can basically say, and I can drag one of these in. And I want to say, if the number of inks used on side 1, and then you can say if is equal to or greater than, and add another variable there. So the formulas can get quite complex, and our team can help you set these up. But if you're having trouble using quantity or hourly based cost centers, the formula gives you a really no limits to calculate the price of something or an add-on. So just to recap there, you want to configure your presses, your calculation methods, your pre and post cost centers. Okay, this is your starting point. Over here you've got your inventory categories, right? And these are your custom inventory categories. So there's one I like to add, and this is corporate store online inventory. So this is a corporate customers, and we'll copy that down there. And what this means is that all my web store inventory is going to be stored in these folders, and that way I can report against it later. So we can save that, and we'll find corporate customers as our inventory. So I'm just going to save that. So under inventory, this is where I will have all my stock and consumables for the factory. So this might be paper, inks, films, plates, vinyl, miscellaneous, and corporate customers. So what we're going to do is, let's have a look at this. So we're going to open up a piece of stock. And you can create flags against these items. So it might be stock in demand. Is it available or discontinued? If it's paper, you can say, all right, it comes packed in 250 sheets, what my sheet size is, and what my weight is. Any ink absorption you can set. In the US, you've got your paper basis area, and basically you can set your opening count values. So this might be, for example, 5,000, and you can set a reorder level at 1,000, and you can give it a location as well. You want to link this item to a supplier, and give it a supplier product code and a supplier barcode. And this is where I will now set up my cost and my actual system sell price. So this is sold before markup, and I can add in my cost, and the system will keep what your costs are varying between dates and prices. Now you can import this inventory. Okay, as part of our Kickstarter program, you import this via Excel, and this will add it automatically into the system, filling out all these items. Okay, so now that we've configured our cost centers, our presses, our guillotines, and our inventory, we can go up to and take a look at the rest of the MIS. So under our CRM, what we have is a shared calendar, a shared to-do list, and then we can see all our contacts, companies, suppliers, and shared documents. So I've only got one user in this instance, but if I double click on an event here, I can add an event. This is a call, next action appointment. This is a start date, end date. I can link it to a contact, right? So maybe I want to add that to a salesperson, and I can say, right, I want to now add some intel about that. So it's an inquiry for, what is it for? Right, it might be inquiry for business cards. Where did the source come from? Okay, and this is going to help build our marketing list. We can mark it as private, which means it's only visible to me, and we can change the priority. This will send us reminders when this item is due. We'll also see this item in our to-do list, and we can add activities in our to-do list as well. When we come in to view our contacts, and we'll see me in here a few times. Let's open this contact up. This is the information about my contact. There's plenty of information that can be stored. My address info. Once these contacts register on the retail store or they're added to a corporate store, they'll appear in my contacts list. Same with companies. So let's click on a company. And we can open up a company and we can see all the actual addresses and users that are stored under that company. We can also see any previous orders or any invoices for that company. Same thing for suppliers. We can add our suppliers into the system. Now let's go ahead and look at order processing. So order processing is, we've got our direct orders that have come through from our web stores, and we've got our direct orders from somebody's created an estimate and converted that to an order. So let's open one up. So here we have an order for the business cards. This is the order I placed on the web store during the demo. And basically what I can do now is I can change this to a confirm start. It's going to ask me, do I want to change the order? Right, and then as a confirm start, I'll now see it on the job board. There's also some other options here. Is I can say specify some target dates when I expect the artwork to come in, when I expect it to go to print, and so on. Right, and this is just helping to build the sales pipeline. Is it credit approved? So the credit approval, who it was set by, and can the job proceed without a credit check? All right, yes, no. And do we have an official order by the customer and the customer's purchase order? Now, this will stop users from progressing orders if this information isn't entered or the order hasn't come from a web store. If we've received online payments, we can view those payments here. We can also add the payment against the order. Delivery schedule, so we can add a delivery address. So this is going to say, here's the item, it's going to my house, quantity 250, delivery date 13th of May, and we can select it and we can produce that ticket now. So we can print the order and print the invoice, and this will come up in our shipping. So let's go ahead and progress this to in production. When we progress the job to in production, it's going to ask who the job manager is, what the starting date is, and what's the anticipated completion date. And any other components of the order as well. So this is our standard delivery when we anticipate it actually arriving to the customer. Okay, so now the item is in production. And when we save this, an email is sent to the production manager to say there's a new order in production. And we'll see this order on our production board. So here's the orders that we've just placed into production, and from here we can open it and we can assign it to whichever area it needs to go. We'll also go back to the production board here and we can see orders that are late. So any order that is late and requires our urgent attention, we can actually view straight away. So if I click open in the production board, it'll open up. I can also add additional shipping charges. I can add additional products, inventory, and cost centers to the product. Okay, so let's go back to our production board and say, we're a digital printer and we deal with hundreds of jobs a day. So here's our job, and there's one thing to consider is that I can drag this job to the next location. This can fire off an email to the customer if you wish, or it can simply just move it along into the next section. Now this means that I don't have to just manually move every job like on the slider we did in order processing. This means I can update the board by moving jobs along. So this brings us to estimating. The final part of this presentation. The reason why I've left estimating till last is because estimates formulated from all this information that we've set up during this webinar, and in addition to that, we're in the middle of improving how the estimates function and how easy it is for users and estimators and just a general user to create an estimate. So this will be an area of improvement over time. But my first action is to select a customer, and when I select a customer, it'll say which contact at the customer, which address at the customer. I can give the estimate a title. So this might be it might be an 8pp booklet. You could copy and paste whatever description book they've got for their estimate. It might be it's the Lions booklet for whichever school. All right, and then I can either add a product from the store, right? And so this is going to be from my retail catalog. I can add a product that I've already got configured in the system, almost like a saved template. Right, and we can search those here. Alternatively, I can add a blank print product, which is what we're going to run through today. I can add an inventory item, or I can add a cost center. I can also add my own shipping charges. So here we'll go in and we'll create a blank sheet, and basically right here we're going to say, right, quantities 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. My first sheet, I'm going to say what it is. Okay, is it single-sided, double-sided, work and turn? So we can say this is double-sided. We can select the stock that it's on, so 130 gram. We can select our sheet size. So this might be SRA 3, and this could be an A4 or DL or similar. So let's select an A4. It's going to tell me the number up on the sheet. It's also going to tell me the plan. So it'll show me if it's DL, how it plans on printing it, and so on. Or how it's actually estimating for this job. I'm going to choose how many colors it is. So it's 4/4, and I'm going to run the wizard. So so you can also set how many quantity of this actual section, right? Now by running the wizard, this is going to calculate all the different options for which presses and allow me to select the different presses. So it's going to give me a cost depending if they're all configured. It's going to give me a cost, it's going to give me a runtime, and it's going to give me a runtime and cost for each of the quantities. So I can select a printer, and I can also add cost centers to this. So maybe I want to score and fold this front section, so I can add those options to this, and we'll click OK. And basically it's going to bring in all the estimate components, and then I can add additional cost, and I can add pre-press or post-press cost centers, and I can say how many sections are like this, right? So I can say there's you know, it's an APP, so I say this is 2 sections like this, and I can define my markup, whether I want 20% on that one, 15 on this, and 10 on that. Okay, so the markup is determined in the back end, right, where we saw that in system settings. I can then save that, and I can add sheets to this, and it's going to calculate my estimate. I can populate the descriptions here. These are all brought in from a product once I create a product in the library, and then I can copy this and save this estimate and then print it off. So once I've got this kind of configured and I've chosen which quantity I want, my action would be to print or email this at that point. So this concludes today's webinar. Thanks for taking the time to learn about MyPRINTCloud. And to register for your trial, go to myprintcloud.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.